Hello, I'm live. Turn on my phone here. I hope everybody is doing great. Just need to just get one share going on my phone. Listen, this pollen down here in the South is not fun. Matter of fact, the color of my shirt and the color of my shirt is the color of everything in Mullins in that background. Oh my goodness, it is bad, y'all. It is really, 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 really bad. So bear with me. I just took a Zyrtec. I know everybody's taking something because listen, funny thing, when I moved to Mullins, actually when I moved to Charlotte, come this season, I thought like I didn't know what was going on. I go to the emergency room and every single time they say go across the street to CVS and take care of your stuff. So now I'm ready. Excuse me. It's gonna be like that. I'm gonna work through it. Okay, I'm gonna work through it. All right, let me just almost ready, and then we can go ahead and dive in. And if you're watching this on replay, I thank you so much for your patience. And if you're not, please like and share because today we're gonna have a discussion. We're gonna go in. We're gonna really, really go in today. And when I thought about, so this is Tuesday, not Monday. Last night, I had the distinct pleasure of being the speaker at the ABWA women's event. So it was conflicted during my Mondays with Miko time. So now that's why I'm doing it today on a Tuesday. And as I was preparing, oh, honey, can you give me some water, please? As I was preparing for today, I had so many things that I wanted to talk about. And y'all, it is so deep. The information that I have to share, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get to everything, but that's okay. We're gonna do what we're gonna do, and then we'll pick up. Okay. We will pick up. It's time for action. We don't have a whole lot of time, but I'm gonna go ahead and start. All right. So I'm going to start with, again, thank you for joining. I would love for you guys to please comment as we go along. Thank you so much, honey. Comment as we go along. Let's have a discussion because it's discussion time. It really is discussion time. I'm going to start my conversation today with talking about the Voting Rights Act and how it relates to what we have going on today in Mullins, right? I hear a lot of young people, they always say, I don't vote, my vote doesn't matter, doesn't mean anything, yada, yada, yada. So today, during my Mondays with Miko, we're going to hear from three people. We're going to hear from Fannie Lou Hamer, and we're going to talk about her. We're going to hear from Martin Luther King, and we're going to talk about him. And then we're going to hear from President LBJ. And we're going to talk about him. And we're going to talk about, it's going to be I guess you could say a walk down history, but also a walk right back, right? This is today. This is definitely today. So let's go ahead and start with Miss Fannie Lou Hamer. Let me kind of set this up before I show it. And this video is not that long. But Miss Fannie Lou Hamer, she an activist, and all she wanted to do, it's not all, but what she wanted to do was register to vote. And so she's going to talk to us about her story, what it took for her to register to vote. And also she and this particular clip is when she was presenting in front of the Democratic Party, the state convention. And I love the state conventions. As a matter of fact, South Carolina has one coming up soon. It is where history is made. And you're going to hear her story. What's not told in this story that I'm about to show you is Her story was so powerful. So keep in mind, this is in 1964. We're not talking about ancient history. I was born in 1969. So this is in 1964. And what happened was President LBJ knew how, thank you, hi Deborah, knew how important her story was going to be. He cut in. He cut in with an emergency address of nothing, just to take national attention away from her. And because he did that, it backfired. Because he cut in on her conversation, it gained more national attention. So let's hear from Ms. Hamer.
This is Fannie Lou Hamer, and I live.
Let me see. No, I can't hear it.
626 East Lafayette Street, Roosevelt, Mississippi. Sunflower County, the home of Senator James O. Eastland and
Can you
Senator
guys hear her?
It was the 31st of August in 1962 that 18 of us traveled 26 miles to the county courthouse in Indianola to try to register to become first-class citizens. We was met in Indianola by policemen, by highway patrolmen, and they only allowed 2 of us in to take the literacy test at the time. After we had taken this test and started back to Roosevelt,
Hold on. If you guys are still with me, hold on. Hold on. Some technical difficulties here. Give me a few minutes. All right, can you guys hear me? Let me see. Let's see if I get to my comments here. Somebody's going to talk to me, tell me if I'm on. All right, can you guys hear me? All right, looks like you're still there. My computer is acting kind of crazy, and we're going to make this happen. Bear with me. Bear with me. What I'm probably going to have to do is find out a way to turn this thing off and start it all over again. So, meanwhile, let me see if I can. Oh, it's coming back. Computer is coming back. I'm telling y'all, look, I was just going all in today doing pulling these videos that I've been watching together. And so it got the best of me. It got the best of me, but just give me a minute and I'll be right back on over here on my computer and then we can go back to sharing these videos. My laptop was like, hey, that's enough. I thank you all for staying with me, for hanging in there with me. I am almost back. And then we'll get it going. But just to set this up again, so what I was showing is I am showing Fannie Lou Hamer. And Fannie Lou Hamer is speaking before the Democratic Party. All right. Yes. Again. Okay, let's see which one is this one. There we go. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna have to bring my resources back to the table, y'all. So just give me a minute. Give me a minute. And we're gonna start with Miss Fannie Lou Hamer. Okay, thank you guys. You can hear me. All right, listen, these technology things, and I'm a technologist, but this stuff can happen. All right, so here we go. And it's going to take me a little bit to rebuild everything that I had ready to go.
And to the Credentials Committee.
All right, we're starting over again, okay?
Mr. Chairman, and to the Credentials Committee. My name is Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer, and I live at 626 East Lafayette Street, Roosevelt, Mississippi, Sunflower County, the home of Senator James O. Eastland and Senator Stennis. It was the 31st of August in 1962 that 18 of us traveled 26 miles to the county courthouse in Indianola to try to register to become first-class citizens. We was met in Indianola by policemen, highway patrolmen, and they only allowed 2 of us in to take the literacy test at the time. After we had taken this test and started back to Roosevelt, we was held up by the city police and the state highway patrolmen and carried back to Indianola, where the bus driver was charged that day with driving a bus the wrong color. After we paid the fine among us, we continued on to Roosevelt, and Reverend Jeff Sonny carried me 4 miles in the rural area where I had worked as a timekeeper and sharecropper for 18 years. I was met there by my children that told me the plantation owner was angry because I had gone down, tried to register. After they told me, my husband came and said the plantation owner was raising Cain because I had here today decide And before he quit talking, the plantation owner came and said, Fannie Lou, do you know, did Pap tell you what I said? And I said, yes, sir. He said, well, I mean that if you don't go down and withdraw your registration, you will have to leave. Said, then if you go down and withdraw, that you still might have to go because we are not ready for that in Mississippi. And I addressed him and told him that I didn't try to register for you. I tried to register for myself. I had to leave that same night. All of this is on account of we want to register to become first-class citizens. And if the Freedom Democratic Party is not seated now, I question America. Is this America, the land of the free and the home of the brave, where we have to sleep with our telephones off of the hook because our lives be threatened daily, because we want to live as decent human beings in America? Thank you.
All right, so let's unpack that together, y'all. So Fannie Lou Hamer, right? So did you pick up on some of the key things in her story? So if you're just joining me, and sorry for all the technical difficulties, I just showed a video of Fannie Lou Hamer talking in front of the Democratic Party, and she talked about her struggles to simply register. She had to travel 26 miles. This is in 1964. She had to travel 26 miles just to register, to be arrested, to be challenged, poll taxes, but she did it. And she came back and she told her story. And when she got back, she was she was a sharecropper, and we'll go into that another day. But when she came back, she was presented with withdraw your registration. And she said, no, sir, I wasn't registering for you. I was registering for me. And she uses the word, she wanted to be a first-class citizen. A first-class citizen. So when people say they don't want to register to vote, they don't want to vote, they don't want to get involved, what does that make you? Because those that vote are the ones that make the decisions in our community. We want to be first-class citizens. If we want to make sure that our needs are met in our communities, we want to make sure that we have housing, that our kids have stuff to do, you got to get involved. And there's a couple things that touched me personally, where she talked about, if you don't do this, if you don't give us our rights, then I question America. And that's a fair statement in 1964. So keep in mind, this is leading up to the Voting Rights Act, right? We had Martin Luther King and John Lewis. They were on the ground, traveling all over the South. And she also said that she had to sleep with their telephones off the hook, just to be decent human beings. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not sleeping with my telephone off the hook, but I am being politically lynched online, on social media, just because I'm speaking up for the right to vote. And you heard Fannie Lou Hamer saying that she wants to be a first-class citizen. So because I'm speaking up for Mullins to have the option to be first-class citizens, I'm being taxed on text, messenger, everything, lies, innuendo. Somebody even said, well, I don't know if it's true, but it may be true. I got help from them, but maybe it's true, maybe it's not. That is slander, that is libel. This is modern day lynching. So what's happened to me, thank you, Jesus, that I'm not being arrested and jailed and beat and brutalized and bruised like Fannie was. If you get time, listen to her whole story. That's just a snippet. So moving on from there, Martin Luther King, I been looking at his videos, and looking at his movements from 1964. This is leading up to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And one of the things that blew my mind was, you're going to hear in this next video I'm going to play, that Martin is going to talk directly about voting on November 3rd.
You were going to see that 10 other people are registered before the last.
Back to the video.
Each of you assembled here today decided that you were going to see that 10 other people are registered before the last day, which I think is next weekend, the 14th, I believe. Just see what a power you can be. And then after getting people registered, that is another and even greater responsibility, and that is to go out to vote.
Now, I'm not going to be long. I'm going to be very brief. I'm not here to make a speech. I'm here to make a plea, and I'm here to urge you to do something that I think you will do and something that I think you want to do. Each of us has a moral responsibility, if we are of voting age and if we are registered, to participate in that decision. I come here to urge every person under the sound of my voice to go to the polls on the 3rd of November and vote your convictions. Now, I know you're intelligent people, and I don't need to tell you who you should vote for. I don't have any fear about that. You know who to vote for. I'm just asking you to vote. And so all men of goodwill will go to the polls on November the 3rd. And I hope we will have a great day in our nation, so that when we wake up on the 4th of November, we will know that America has made the right decision.
Okay, so that's Martin Luther King, right? So Martin Luther King is saying, look, keep in mind, when you vote during even number years in November, that's when most people vote, right? Here we are in March, and last day of March, and people are talking about voting, campaign ads, sign all around, right? It's just human nature to know to vote when everybody's going to vote. So Martin says, go out, vote on November 3rd, vote your convictions. And he's talking to a captive audience because he knows it, right? He says, look, all you guys are here, and I know y'all going to vote. I know you're going to bring 10 more people. But we have to do this. This is mission critical, right? We heard Fannie Lou Hamer talking about being first-class citizens. Martin, everything he suffered, he gave his life eventually for the right to vote. And I almost don't want to say the right to vote. I almost want to say to right to be in Fannie first-class citizen, right? So he talked about it. He said, go out, register to vote, and vote. So just want to remind Marion County that there's a primary on June 6th, and the voting registration deadline is May 11th. So if you've not registered to vote, contact Assist. I'm going to drop some information on my Facebook page. You can do it online. It is very, very important. So in 1964, leading up to the passage of the Voting Rights Act, it was a time in America. It was a time in America. And I told you about when Fannie Lou Hamer, when she was speaking in front of the DNC, that President LBJ had to jump in and stop people from listening to what she has to say. And all that did was gave her voice more power. So this next video, this is a long one. I'm probably going to pause it several times. This video was from August 6, 1965, 4 years before I was born. And this is when LBJ actually signed the voting rights bill. And this is in his own words. These are in video. And let me get to it. It's quite powerful. Looks like I'm going to have to upload it again. Sorry, guys. I had all this ready to go, and then my computer crashed. That's okay. We got this. I'm going to upload the video from LBJ. And again, LBJ, President Lyndon Baines Johnson, he was our president at the time. And he was
a triumph for freedom. Today is a triumph for freedom, as huge as any victory that's ever been won on any battlefield. Yet to seize the meaning of this day, we must recall darker times. 3.5 centuries ago, the first Negroes arrived at Jamestown.
300 years ago.
They did not arrive in brave ships in search of a home for freedom. They did not mingle fear and joy in expectation that in this new world anything would be possible to a man strong enough to reach for it. They came in darkness and they came in chains. And today, we strike away the last major shackle of those fierce and ancient bonds.
So let's pause it right there for a minute. So what LBJ has just told us, this is August 6th. This is the day that the Voting Rights Bill of 1965 is being signed. And he acknowledged, without using the word slavery, that African Americans, or Negroes, as he called us at the time, came in bondage. It was not a joyful trip. It was not a happy time for us. But today, August 6, 1965, the final shackles of slavery have been released.
There were those who said this is an old injustice and there is no need to hurry. But 95 years have passed since the 15th Amendment gave all Negroes the right to vote.
95.
And the time for waiting is gone. There were those who said smaller and more gradual measures should be tried. But they had been tried. For years and years, they had been tried and tried and tried, and they had failed and failed and failed. And the time for failure is gone. Your future and your children's future depend upon it. And I don't believe that you are going to let them down. This act is not only a victory for Negro leadership. This act is a great challenge to that leadership. It is a challenge which cannot be met simply by protests and demonstrations. It means that dedicated leaders must work around the clock to teach people their rights and their responsibilities, and to lead them to exercise those rights and to fulfill those responsibilities and those duties to their country.
So let's unpack that for a second. Then I'm going to keep playing it. So he's saying, I believe he's speaking to Martin Luther King, right? Because he's in the audience. He says, and he's speaking to everyone that thinks that this is a victory for Martin Luther King. He says, no, this is just not about the Negro leaders winning. This is a great challenge. So now that the Voting Rights Act of 1965 is being signed into law by the President of the United States of America, leaders, he didn't say Negro leaders, leaders have a great challenge ahead. That means that, he says, we have to teach others And I'm saying that we have let our younger generation down. We do not teach them about the right to vote, about what they've lost, about how important it is. He's going to go on to say, he's going to say a lot more. But I want you guys to pick up on that, right? So, and for those leaders, and that's, I'm speaking for myself, I'm speaking for other people that are out there challenging the injustice that's happening in Mullins and saying that we have to vote, and it doesn't matter your color. It's not about race. People of all races know what's right. And the right is for citizens of Mullins to have the right to vote free and fair, period. So when you all are being challenged, when you all are being verbally accosted, when Facebook is coming for you, just know that we're on the right side of history.
If you do this, then you will find, as others have found before you, that the vote is the most powerful instrument ever devised by man for breaking down injustice and destroying the terrible walls which imprison men because they're different from other men.
Okay, we gotta stop there. So he says that the vote is the most powerful thing ever created to man. So when I say, or we say, hands off our election, we are literally fighting for the most powerful thing. This gives us the power and the ability to make changes in our own community, to decide which streets get paved, who we hire, who we fire, who gets playgrounds in their neighborhoods and communities, right? The trash being picked up. Your vote is everything. Jobs, education, housing. So when you don't vote, and I am begging everybody in the city of Mullins to pay attention and to get involved. And if you don't live in the city of Mullins, please pay attention. We need your help on the ground right now. This is not me speaking. This is the President of the United States of America saying that your vote is the most powerful tool in the tool chest.
The wounds and the weaknesses, the outward walls and the inward scars which diminish achievement are the work of American society. And we must all now help to end them. Help to end them through expanding programs already devised and through new ones to search out and forever end the special handicap of those who are black in a nation that happens to be mostly white. So it is for this purpose, to fulfill the rights that we now secure, that I have already called a White House conference to meet here in the nation's capital this fall. And so we will move step by step, often painfully, but I think with clear vision, along the path toward American freedom. It is difficult to fight for freedom, but I think I also know how difficult it can be to bend long years of habit and custom to grant it. There is no room for injustice anywhere in the American mansion.
Just want to pause again, and I know this is a long live, and I'm not sorry, and I hope you guys are going to hang in there and maybe come back and watch it later. So he says there is no room for injustice in the American mansion. There is no room for injustice in the American mansion. These battles have been fought by our people that are no longer here: Fannie Lou Hamer, John Lewis, Martin Luther King, Lyndon LBJ. Hard-fought battles. Let's not repeat history. Ms. Martin.
But there is always room for understanding toward those who see the old ways crumbling.
We can
And
understand.
to them today I say simply this: it must come. It is right that it should come. And when it has, you will find a burden that has been lifted from your shoulders too. It is not just a question of guilt, although there is that. It is that men cannot live with a lie and not be stained by it. The central fact of American civilization, one so hard for others to understand, is that freedom and justice and the dignity of man are not just words to us. We believe in them.
We do.
Under all the growth and the tumult and abundance, we believe. And so, as long as some among us are oppressed, and we are part of that oppression, it must blunt our faith and sap the strength of our high purpose. Thus, this is a victory for the freedom of the American Negro, but it is also a victory for the freedom of the American nation.
Let's pause that. So he says, as long as there's oppression, and we know there's oppression, in the city of Mullins, almost 1 in 3 live below poverty. We have houses that need to be repaired. We have over 200 homes that need to be addressed. As long as there is oppression, this is not acceptable in our free country. I mean, his words mean just as much today as they did back then. But you know what doesn't mean as much today as it did back then? The right to vote. We have to change this. We have to push it. We got to make our people aware.
And every family across this great entire searching land will live stronger in liberty, will live more splendid in expectation, and will be prouder to be American because of the act that you have passed that I will sign today.
August 6, 1965. Look at that. Americans all across that room standing up. This is your Congress working together. This is your Congress. So, and you can see, not white, it's not black, it's not Asian, it's not Latino, it's the United States of America. The right to vote. The right to vote. Wow, what y'all think? What y'all think? I mean, this was the Voting Rights Act of 1965, right? And, you heard Fannie crying, begging, please do something. Martin Luther King, please go out and vote on November 3rd. He didn't say April. He said, go out and vote on November 3rd. Please. LBJ said, hey, I'm going to sign this. And Africans came here over 300 years ago. And after slavery ended, 95 years later, they still could not vote as free men. And as Fannie says it, first-class citizens. He says, this bill right here, this bill that I'm signing today on August 6, 1965, sets Negroes free. And you see who was cheering. Yes, there were some African Americans in the room, but it was mostly people who do not look like us, because we all, as Americans on that day, realized how important freedom was. And the freedom, the people who were trying to disenfranchise African Americans represent a small percentage of America. It doesn't look like that from where we live. But nationwide, it's a small percentage. So let's break it down. Okay. Let's figure out. Let me see. I have some comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say. That's right. Thank you. It is powerful. And these are their own words, right? These are the words of our president of the United States of America signing a landmark bill. And we got to tell people When people say, I don't vote, it doesn't matter, it doesn't change anything, nothing changes because you don't vote. It's the exact opposite. Please let this be the year, City of Mullins, that we change all of that, that we teach our kids, that we make sure every person who is able, 18 of age and older, will vote. Okay, so now let's break it down. So, what's going on here? All right. So what happened was this bill was passed in 1965, right? That said, hey, voting rights bill. And then there was a section, let me get this. There was a section in the bill, Section 5, that called for preclearance in certain states. And so, and South Carolina was one of those states. Why was South Carolina one of those states, you may ask? Well, let me tell you why South Carolina was one of those states. South Carolina was one of those states because South Carolina may not do the right thing. Right? So what this meant was whenever municipalities were going to try to change their vote, change elections, voting habits, voting dates, redraw districts, adjust voting processes in any way, it had to be approved by the DOJ, okay, by the Department of Justice. I had to go to the feds. So let me see if I can blow up something even more. This ordinance that I'm showing you right here, this is the ordinance from 2004 in Mullins that really started this whole thing with me losing my ceremonial powers, and they're saying I'm being investigated, all of that, right? They found this and they said, oh, I'm going to just go down to the voting registration office and I'm going to tell them just to change the election because this piece of document said that. So if you read here, I blew it up. On that document, it says this ordinance shall be effective upon the preclearance under Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act. This is the same Voting Rights Act that Fannie Lou Hamer was beat for and jailed. This is the same Voting Rights Act that Martin Luther King was beat, jailed, and eventually died for. This is the same Voting Rights Act that was in the ordinance in the city of Mullins back in 2004. All right, so let's keep going. I'm going to unpack this for you. Okay, I'm going to unpack this. So we had an ordinance that said, hey, City of Mullins wants to change our elections from November of even years when everybody votes to April of odd years when hardly nobody votes. DOJ said, not in that community, you're not going to do that. So we continued to vote in November. Nothing changed, nothing happened. We continue to vote in November, right? 28 years to this day, we've been voting in November, which is when everybody votes. Then in 2013, Obama was president, and there was a lawsuit. And the lawsuit was, I think, Shelby. Yeah, it was Shelby. And basically what happened was it went all the way up to the Supreme Court because they said this isn't fair. That's an old, antiquated law. This was in 2013. Now, when they fought that battle, they didn't know nothing about Mullins. But hey, so the Supreme Court says, all right, they didn't overturn it. But what they said is you guys have to go back to the table and figure out how you determine which municipalities have to do this preclearance thing for. But nobody ever did it. So from 2013, after 2013, preclearance was no longer necessary. Now keep in mind the city of Mullins was still voting in November, right? Then in 2016, the city of Mullins went to Miko, which is an online digital version of ordinances, laws. Somehow or another, in that law, April was the election date. There's no paper to document it. At least nobody's giving me any paper that documents that. So the Marion County Voter Registration Office has been doing the right thing since at least 1998, and the city of Mullins has been voting in November. And I'm saying that they were doing the right thing because now here we are in 2026. Somebody tried to take an old document and change the date that all of you vote without you voting on that change, without you even knowing about that was going to happen. So your mayor said, no, we ain't going to do that timeout. Let's get some just dessert. Let's make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. Let's make sure that we're doing the right thing, because this is going to impact so many people. So now here we are. So City Council today, on March 10th, they passed the first reading of a brand new ordinance. And this brand new ordinance says change the date for everybody to vote to April of odd years. Now, if it wasn't necessary to have a vote a city council, to have a vote of the citizens, then we wouldn't need to have a brand new ordinance. And if we're going to create a brand new ordinance, citizens of Mullins, you can demand that your city council keeps it the same. Let's fix the record. I'm in 100% agreement that the record needs to be fixed. But let's make sure that it is what the citizens of Mullins are accustomed to, what Fannie Lou Hamer fought so hard for, was jailed and abused, what Martin Luther King died for, what John Lewis was beat almost to death for, which LBJ said was the most important tool of Americans, so that we all can be first-class citizens. So here's the deal. The fact is that your city council, they can change it. I think I have some more issues about them changing. I'm going to talk about that. This is a long live today. I'm going to come back with some more information. I have other issues about the legalities and the ethical issues of what they're doing, but they can do it. So before 2013, this kind of mess would have to go to the DOJ, and the DOJ would say yes or no, right? After 2013, it's up to the citizens. It cannot move forward if the citizens organized, if the citizens take legal action, if the citizens put public pressure that forces reconsideration. Y'all, we have to do it. That's the law of the land. That's how our democracy works. It's up to us. And that's why I am asking you guys to do this, right? And it's not, it's so deep in history, and not even ancient history. You're talking about 1965. I hope that I've been able to connect the dots for you, from Fannie Lou Hamer in 1964 to Martin Luther King and LBJ in 1965 to Mullins in 2026. So, can the city prove that this change is fair before doing it? Can the people stop it after it's happening? Yes, you can. There's an easier way to do it. The easier way is to contact your city council and say, hey, please don't do this. That's the easiest way to do it. Please contact your city council member. Ask them, please don't do this. Don't change our elections from November to April. Now, they may say to you, oh, we have to make the law right. This city council is the one responsible for the law. That city council in 2004, most of them are not even alive anymore. And they couldn't even do what they tried to do. So it's up to this city council to do it. And if they do it, they're doing it on your watch, and we have to stop them. So I want to tell you all, there's going to be a meeting, a couple meetings. Let me go ahead and put this up here. There is a meeting on Monday, April 13th at Mount Carmel Baptist Church. And we're calling this a mass voters meeting. And at this meeting, we're going to have speakers, we're going to have singing, and we're going to, so you can hear from people other than me about why this is so important at this given point in time. And it will be, let me put it in, it's going to be at 6 o'clock All right, I'm going to be posting it on my page. I won't worry about the time. So Monday, April 13th, Mount Carmel Baptist Church in Mullins, there's going to be a mass voters meeting. I need for you guys to show up and to show up in big numbers. Then on Tuesday, April 14th at 4:30, there's going to be a hearing. And at the hearing, that's when you, because you guys are researching, I know you're researching, and we need to hear from everybody. Whether you're for, whether you're against, whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're Latino, why vote changing the date? No, I'm saying we need to keep the date the same. We've been doing it for 28 years. Why change? The city council has the opportunity to vote. It's up to them. Are they voting for the will of the people or are they voting against the will of the people? Okay, so that's going to be on Tuesday, April 14th, and more to come. I'm going to be posting a lot more about that. So I'm just going to recap a couple things because I'm kind of out of time. There's 4 reasons why I personally oppose this change. One is our city has conducted elections in November of even number years for at least 28 years, probably more. 2, it would extend the terms of mayor and city council by 5 months. You elected me for 4 years, not 4 years and 5 months. Any change to my term should have to go to the voters. Holding elections in odd years will require more resources and place greater financial burden on taxpayers, right? We need to find ways to reduce costs, not increase costs. So here you have a city council that's trying to change the day of the election and then increase the cost to you. 4, there's serious concerns regarding the paper trail of past ordinances. And that's all I was, this live has been focused on that, right? This live has been focused on that Voting Rights Act. And I hope, you guys tell me, was I able to explain to you guys why how the Voting Rights Act of 1965 relates to what we're going through right now? Right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on the screen. There you go, right there. This is the document. It had that on there. I mean, that's history, y'all, right there. Look at that, 2004. That's the one amazing thing about being mayor. One of the amazing things about being mayor is you get to see, you get to see how history did. Lori, I don't know why they're changing it. I don't. And we know why. I can't hypothesize on why they're changing it. Only thing I could tell you that I've heard in the media was that it was to fix the ordinance. You're a city council. We can fix the ordinance any way we want. Why change it? Why do these things? Why risk the ethical issue, the legal issues? Hands off our elections. But it is up to you, City of Mullins. We can make this happen. And I implore you to join me and a whole bunch of others on April 13th, Monday. Let me bring it back up. At Mount Carmel Baptist Church to learn more. Learn more. Let's discuss it as a community. And let's get ready for that next day. This, y'all, this is cutting edge stuff. And this is not anything I thought I would see in my lifetime. But I'm here. I'm here. I am fighting for this, and I will fight for this to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. I will not stop. So if anybody thinks that they can continue to slander me, to continue to put stuff out there about my family, to continue to attack me, to do whatever it is that they're doing, if you think it's going to stop me, it's not going to stop me. Not at all. So I'm going to move on to a couple other topics, and then we'll call it a day, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back with the rest of my, because I think this was a lot that I dropped on you all tonight. Again, April 13th, mass meeting on voting, Mount Carmel Baptist Church, 6 p.m. Economic development. I don't want you guys to miss this. I posted on my Facebook page about the Marion site. I think it's called Mullins I'm not sure. I don't want to get it wrong. But the Marion site being selected on the top 6% of CSX's select site program. That is huge. That is major development for the city of Mullins. Okay, so the city of Mullins, our train depot, we still have our train tracks. We have actually 2 carriers, right? And what that means is that as development, as mayor, as Horry County is the fastest growing county in the nation. It is just to our east, right? We got Florence that's exploding, but Horry County is the fastest growing county in the nation. South Carolina is the fastest growing state in the nation. And these things that I see that are being done are preparing South Carolina for the growth that is to come. Now, where our train tracks are, we have 3 abandoned factories now. I can't wait till I could tell you about the 4th, what happened. Not yet, but it's coming soon. So we have 3 abandoned factories. And what better way to get so now we have factories that are co-located with train lines that are getting substantial investment. Y'all talking to me about jobs. It's coming. These are the baby steps. Thank you so much, Marion County Economic Development, for what you've done to get us this far. It looks like, oh yeah, that's just something else she's sharing. No, this is a big deal. This is a huge, 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 huge deal. More to come. All right. April 6th, there is an election, school board election. My personal favorite is Martina. Definitely Martina Rush, right? I'm going to go vote for her tomorrow. Early voting is live now, I believe. Yeah, it has to be, because the election is April 6th, okay? So don't waste your time. People are making phone calls, saying things that are not fair, right? About why you shouldn't vote. But what I'm telling you is that voting, we heard Fannie Lou Hamer say it, right? You got to vote. And you also need to vote for qualifications. Martina Rush is qualified. If you have not, go to her Facebook page. As a matter of fact, I'll drop it on my page a little bit later today. But yeah, go to her Facebook page. She is qualified. She is ready to serve. And on day 1, she will be a highly productive school board member. And that's what we need, Marion County. We need highly productive school board members. Okay, I am going to be sharing with you a program that I shared with council, and I've been talking about over some time called Project Phoenix. And so as I'm going through and creating kind of what I see as my vision for the city of Mullins, I've been creating these documents, and I have them. And one is on Project Phoenix. And Project Phoenix talks about the tearing down of the abandoned buildings. It talks about condemnation of some of our businesses, some of our problem areas, some of our houses that are impacting our children and their safety, and also a program that the city can get involved in which we can repair homes up to $75,000. Right? And remember, we had 2 hurricanes, so we got a lot of homes that are in desperate need of repair. Now, in order for any of this stuff to happen, we got to have a working city council. We got to have a city council that's going to work together. All right? Also, save the date, May 2nd. I'm going to be coming back. I'm going to come back on a lot of this. I'm over time, but I'm going to be coming back. On May 2nd is a community-wide yard sale. So it's Mayor Pickett's community-wide yard sale. So May 2nd, start saving your items. I'm doing it. As I'm doing my spring cleaning, I'm putting stuff aside for the yard sale. So in order to participate, you just participate right in front of your house. You could go to the city website and you could sign up for, I'm going to post it on my page too, but you could sign up for the yard sale. There's an event already out there, matter of fact. But if you sign up to say you're going to participate in a yard sale, we're going to market and promote your home on the map so that when people come into town, we'll be able to address them with signage in terms of where the various yard sales are. So that's on Saturday, May 2nd, okay? Mayor Pickett's community-wide yard sale, Saturday, May 2nd. All righty, y'all. I had a whole lot more to say, but I'm out of time. I love you all. I hope to see you soon. I'll definitely see you around town. Have a good one.